I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
A few lessons for Disney. Number one, stop cannibalizing all your old IP. Like, it's really bad. It's really bad business. Number two, please stop changing all of the historic plots, which actually have meaning to generations of people, to instead become generic woke story about how woman leads revolutionary uprising and she don't need no man.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. But the reality is she's just not stable, like the majority of people in Hollywood. They're just not stable human beings.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Star Rachel Zegler is unbelievably charmless in public.
Every time she speaks, she gets less likable.
And to constantly say things that are like just atrocious because they're looking for attention and they can never have enough of it. They can never have enough of it.
It truly is the worst casting, maybe, in the history of the film industry.
These big bad feminists now are telling us that's ridiculous. How dare you want to meet a handsome prince and be swept off of your feet and live happily ever after? No, you should want to be the prince. You should want to go out and fight the bad guys with a sword.
If you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
She was, as woke as they are. You know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
It has nothing to do with the creation of Snow White. Right. You should shut up.
Disney's live-action Snow White was supposed to be a massive hit. Instead, it became one of the biggest disasters in Hollywood history. And at the center of the controversy, Rachel Zegler, the so-called star of the film, who managed to tank her own movie before it even hit theaters. But if you thought fans were the only ones calling her out, think again. Candace Owens just ripped into Zegler for her woke arrogance, entitlement, and disrespect for a beloved classic. And let's just say, she did not hold back.
Because you just can't close your mouth. You just can't be sane, even when you do open your mouth. I think this girl does not deserve a feature-length film, but rather, she deserves to be in a padded cell.
So what went wrong? How did Zegler turn Snow White into a total train wreck? Let's break it all down. It all started when Disney announced Rachel Zegler as their new Snow White. Fans were already skeptical. But then Zegler did something that no leading actress should ever do. She trashed the original movie, mocked its storyline, and dismissed its legacy. In multiple interviews, she called the 1937 classic weird and said Snow White's love story was stalkerish.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
She's not going to be safe with the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
Instead of honoring the role, she lectured fans about feminism, saying her version of Snow White would be a leader who doesn't need a prince. The backlash was instant. Disney fans were furious. Who was this newcomer to insult one of the most beloved fairy tales of all time?
Crimea River, she's just exactly everything that we can't stand. And they postponed the release of this thing, Ben, for a year because their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, told all Trump supporters that they could off, excuse me, but she did. That was just in November. They didn't even know she was going to do that one. Said she hated Snow White, mocked the fact that there was a prince and that she falls in love as opposed to leaning into her own power.
Owen said, if you don't like Snow White, then why did you even take the role? She obliterated Rachel Zegler, calling her entitled, arrogant, and completely out of touch. Owens pointed out that Zegler was handed a golden opportunity, starring in a Disney movie, and instead of being grateful, she acted like a victim. She comes off as a whiny brat.
They have been making this film for a very long time because it's just been so scandalized. And so they had to basically put it on ice after people were firstly outraged by Rachel Zegler speaking ill about the prior film, the film that she was remaking. And it's such a weird thing for their whole pitch as feminists to be is like the best thing you can strive to be as a man. Everything will be great once we just act exactly like men. There's nothing special about being a woman. Let's just be men. It just doesn't feel like we're winning.
Rachel Zegler, she's an asshole.
I don't think they're going to buy it. I don't think they're going to watch it. I don't think they're going to like it.
And honestly, she has a point. Rachel Zegler had everything, a Disney paycheck, a global platform, and a chance to become a household name. But instead of embracing it, she alienated the audience that was supposed to support her.
So no prince or a different kind of prince?
I'm sure a lot of people will assume it's a love story just because we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Who the hell are you to say all of Andrew's scenes could get cut? Who are you?
Oh my God.
Are you Disney? I've read your book, and I have. It's a phenomenal book. You're losing generation of loyal viewers. When you think about Snow White, what is the premise? What is the story?
It's a love story. It's a love story.
It's a dream for a girl to grow up and a man falls in love.
I'm really upset that the biggest theme here is that it's anti-men. She called him a stalker.
Now let's talk numbers. Disney sank over $200 million into this movie, expecting a massive return, but when opening weekend arrived, it flopped hard. The film barely made $43 million in the US. China rejected it outright, less than $1 million in earnings.
You want to trash that legacy? That company that now Disney has screwed up the last 5 years trying to please a small percentage of minorities in America? Yeah, we're sick of it. So the more you do this, Disney, Iger, Rachel Zegler, whatever her name is, yes, this is exactly the backlash you're going to get from parents who have kids who are your customers. You're supposed to win parents over. You're talking to kids, the parents pay for the tickets. You have to be a dummy as a marketer to be saying, if I'm Bob Iger, you know what we're doing? Emergency meeting. We're putting Snow White on hold for 2 years, and guess what? Pay her a couple $1,000,000, go away. We're going to bring another person to play this role because you just screwed this thing up.
Critics destroyed it, calling it preachy and soulless. Fans boycotted it, fed up with Hollywood's woke agenda. And let's not forget the CGI dwarfs.
Then they got even crazier and they decided that the dwarves in Snow White weren't woke enough, okay?
Did the dwarfs make it or no?
Well, the CGI dwarfs did. Of course, that goes back to the original controversy where Peter Dinklage, a very talented little person actor, said, why are we doing that? We've hired a Latina actress to be Snow White. That's progressive. But you're going to hire little people to play the dwarfs? That just seems like a step backwards. And then, of course, Disney instantly buckled and said, okay, we're going to add magical creatures.
These are roles made for actors of my stature. I can't go out for the Harrison Ford or the George Clooney roles because that's not for me.
Right.
And now it's taken away. I don't feel that's right.
Peter Dinklage, you're rich. We're not. We're trying to be extras, or, we're in Johnny Knoxville's Jackass if we're lucky. And so for them, they're like, you're not going to cast us to be inclusive and progressive. But these guys at Disney, they're not that bright. They're not that smart. And we see that because they can't come up with any new IP.
A complete disaster caused by Peter Dinklage's rant about offensive stereotypes. Instead of casting real actors, Disney replaced the seven dwarfs with weird magical creatures. So what happens next? Well, one thing is clear. Disney is in panic mode. Rachel Zegler is now radioactive in Hollywood. Studios don't want the backlash she brings.
Spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live-action Disney remakes that they've ever had.
And accusing Disney of inserting unnecessary feminism into classic fairy tales.
Disney is scrambling. They're facing massive losses and rethinking their remake strategy. Fans are done with Hollywood's woke rewrites. They want classic stories, not lectures. And Candace Owens, she's just getting started. She made one thing very clear.
But you are not entitled to call for Trump supporters to be harmed. Like, you are actually not entitled to do that. And so let me just remind you, Rachel Zegler, of what the map looks like, just so you can understand when your Disney movie is coming out, how many people you are wishing harm upon. Like, this is America right now. I will love you through these 4 years as best I can. F Donald Trump. Yeah, totally stable thing for her to be posting, wishing harm upon Trump voters, wishing that we have no peace.
Hollywood's obsession with woke messaging is ruining movies. And if Disney doesn't change course, they're in for even more box office disasters.
What is this process now where it's like, in order to be inclusive, you have to completely destroy storylines, completely destroy franchises? I don't believe in that. I don't think that consumers believe in that either.
So what do you think? Was Rachel Zegler completely out of line, or was she just speaking her mind?
All these studios have to stop letting their actors loose. I mean, honestly, just shut your actors up. Because guess what? Nobody grew up with that crap, and nobody's all that interested in it. It's very good for people to learn that women need men, and also that men need women. I don't know why this fell out of fashion, and we're not allowed to just say that sort of stuff anymore, but it actually happens to be the truth. Disney's Snow White was essentially a box office dud. The regime that decided that wokeness needed to be infused in every movie. If they keep going along this path, they're going to go bankrupt.
And do you agree with Candace Owens that Hollywood needs to stop ruining classics? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more breaking Hollywood drama.